prepare the pocket, again, you need to make sure you know which side is the right side, which is the wrong side. You'll need a ruler and a pencil. So this is the right side facing up, so I'm going to turn it over, and this is going to be the top of my pocket. So at the top of my pocket, I'm going to mark 1 centimetre from the edge. I'm going to rule that line in. Now if you're using a dressmaking ruler, this first bold line is 1 centimetre. So if you line that bold line up against the edge of your fabric, you can then rule that line in. So from that line, I'm then going to mark 3 centimetres from the edge. So I've marked 1 centimetre from the edge, now I'm going to mark 3 centimetres. Now 3 centimetres from the edge on the pattern making ruler is this line here. So you line that line up with your raw edge. And remember, you're drawing this on the wrong side of the fabric. Now we're going to iron this. Now we're going to iron along our lines, but we're going to do it in a way that's probably going to seem confusing, but wait until the end of the video and you'll understand it. So the first line, we're going to iron towards the wrong side. So we've got the wrong side facing up, and we're going to iron it along that line. Then we're going to flip this to the right side, and we're going to iron that second line towards the right side. This is going to help us get a really nice finish at the top of our pocket. So this is what you should have. So this is the right side of the fabric. The first one is ironed towards the wrong side, and then the second one is ironed towards the right side. Now we can get ready to stitch a guideline stitch for our pocket. So keeping this nice and flat, we're going to line up our presser foot with the edge of the fabric. So we're going to do a foot's width, and we're going to stitch a guideline, which will help us fold in our pocket edges for ironing. So stitch forward, do your reverse stitch all the way to the back, and then you're going to sew a foot's width. Remembering foot's width is when the edge lines up with the edge of the foot, all the way around, turning your corners. So I'm going to slow down so I can get into my corner, which is going to be about here. Lift up my presser foot, go to the other end. Slowing down. Alright, and then this end here, I'm going to just pinch that nice and flat to keep it together. So holding this nice and flat. Do your reverse stitch and take it out. So you're not stitching along the fold, just all the way down one side, turn the corner across the bottom, and then back up the other side, remembering your reverse stitch. So back at the iron, we're going to turn out these corners. I'm going to fold that in and pop it out, and if we need to, we can use some scissors to work that corner out fully. So this edge is the top edge of your pocket. So if you were to look at a shirt pocket or the pocket on your school uniform, it's always got a finished edge at the top that's a bit more durable, so it's got a double layer there. Alright, so that's the top of our pocket, so we can very carefully iron that. And then with our guideline that we stitch, we're going to fold that in So we're going to fold it right on the stitch line. I don't know if you can see that. There. So we fold that in along that stitch line. So we do both sides first. Just be careful with the steam because it can get really hot. And then at the bottom corners here, what we can do is we can fold in a teeny tiny triangle. Actually, I'm not going to worry about the triangle. I think it might be a little bit hard and you might be at risk of burning yourself a bit with the steam. But we can just fold that bottom edge up and give it a good press. Okay, so if you flip that around, you've got your nicely ironed in pocket ready to be sewn and attached. Before we can attach our pocket, we're going to stitch along our fold here to keep that flat. So I'm lining it up with this gap here, and I'm going to start always with a little reverse stitch. Now if it feels like it's getting stuck, you can pull your threads at the back when you start, and that will get your fabric moving. Hold it nice and tight and flat. And of course finish with a reverse stitch. So that's the top edge of our pocket sewn flat, and now we're ready to pin it to our front and attach it. So I've got my front piece of fabric, and I have to make sure it's facing the right side up, which it is, and I've got my pocket. So I'm going to work out where exactly I want my pocket. So remember, you need to leave space for seam allowance, so don't put it too close to an edge. I mean, if you wanted to, you could put it right in the middle, anywhere. Also, don't put it too close to the top because you need some space there as well. But I reckon I might put mine to one side slightly. I'm going to put mine there. So I'm going to place it so it is lined up and parallel to these straight edges, and then I'm going to pin it in place, putting my pins so they're perpendicular, so they're a right angle to the edge I'm going to stitch. Just a reminder, don't go too close to the edge or the top. So that is my pocket ready to be sewn on. So to stitch my pocket, I'm going to go down here, turn the corner and back up here, using that same spot on the presser foot to line it up. So I'm going to line it up where the plastic meets the metal, and then we're going to come back and do a reinforcing stitch at the top. Because when you go in and out of a pocket, you need a bit more strength in these areas so it doesn't rip or break. So we start with a little reverse stitch. And then when you get to a pin, take it out. That's why if you put them in perpendicular to your stitch line, they're easy to sew up to, and then you can take them out. I'm going to take that one out. Now if you're worried about this little bit here, you can just gently poke it in before you stitch it. Right, turn your corner. Oh, that pin's not in the right way, oh well. Take that out. keep this hand here to keep it nice and flat. Alright, I think I need to go a little bit more on this one. Alright, stop, take my pin out. Finish with a reverse stitch. Right, so that's my pocket sewn around the edges, but we're going to do a little reinforcing stitch here. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew a triangle. So with the machine, doesn't matter where you start, but I'm going to start here. I'm going to sew down, up on an angle and across, and then back here to do my reverse. So I'm sewing down to this stitch line here, and then I'm going to come up at an angle. Can you hear that I'm toe tapping to give myself a bit more control? Across the top. Just want to make sure I'm going to line up with that stitch line. And then back down. And finish with a reverse stitch. So you can see that's my little reinforcing stitch for the corner. So repeat that on the other side. To start in the same spot, but you're starting the other way. So you're going to go up, and then you're going to do the top of your triangle, and then you're going to go back down to that stitch line, and then back up to do your reverse stitch. Trim your threads, and then that is your pocket with your little reinforced corners. So if you look at your front piece, there you go, that's done.